And what's good, y'all? It's your boy Shane Hector. You're tuned into the WBGR Sports Network. This is the 13th episode of No BS, where, of course, we bring you nothing but sports. And I want to thank you for tuning in today. I'm Shane Hector, and my partners in crime today are not here again this week, and I'm sorry about that. It's my partners in crime are Mike Curry, Brandon Myers, and also Courtney Tate. They're all off today, but I'll be riding solo again, and I'll be, bringing you guys in on the topics that's going in today. Call in at 301-429-9247. Again, that number is 301-429-9247. So right now, folks, I'm just going to jump right in it, and I'm going to talk about today's topics, and we're going to start off with my main man, Sammy Watkins. I got to talk about Sammy, the newest member of the LA Rams. Now, a lot of people are going to be looking at me like I'm crazy right now because I know you guys are like, why are we talking about Sammy for? But what people got to understand is this. Sammy is going to be bringing some different dynamics to that team, especially a team who ain't got no wide receivers. Everybody know the Rams haven't had receivers since, honestly, Torrey Holt, Torrey Big Game Holt, and Isaac Bruce, also known as the best show on turf. So that's just what it is. Here's what the Bills are losing. So in 2014, his rookie season, he was targeted 128 times, had 65 catches, 982 yards. He had 6 touchdowns in that same season, okay? Dude was a baller. Second season, 13 games. He was limited to just 13. Had 1,000 yards, had 1,047 yards, 9 touchdowns, was targeted 96 times, but only had 60 catches. So he caught a little over, just under 75% of his passes. So he did pretty good that year. He had a pretty good year in 2015. But then 2016 rolls around, he gets hurt. He was limited to 8 games, was targeted 52 times, only caught 28 balls, had 430 yards receiving, and only 2 touchdowns. And then the Bills declined to pick up his 5th-year option. But then the Rams said, well, hey, might as well. If they declined to pick up his 5th-year option, let's go ahead and get into trade talks. And then they got into trade talks, and then next thing you know, Sammy's up there in L.A. Now, the thing is for the Bills, I really don't know why you got rid of Sammy because Sammy was honestly your best offensive player. Because Chris Hogan, last time my check went to New England, he just got a ring. And now you just lost Stephon Gilmore. So now it just seems like y'all just want to clean house. And that's fine if you want to clean house. That's just great. That's peachy. But the problem is you have no one else. So what are you going to do, Buffalo? Now, in hindsight's 2020, I guess you could say, that maybe, just maybe, they'll do something a little different this year. Maybe the Bills are just rebuilding, but it's like, who else do you have to throw to? So I just kind of hate to tell you this. It's just not going to happen. I think that the Bills, have just lost, to me, I think was going to be a really good receiver. All you had to do was just let the kid come back healthy this year, show what he can do, and then go from there. But you didn't do that. You cut him a little bit. You pulled the trigger too early. That's how I feel. You pulled the trigger a little bit too early, and now you're in a situation where, okay, so we just got rid of our number one draft pick, from the 2014 year. And now you've got to look at, well, what do I have to look forward to it? So now you're back in rebuild mode. For the Rams, you put somebody who's going to be your X receiver. Tavon Austin's probably going to either be your Y or your Z receiver because, let's be honest, he's more of a slot guy anyway. So now that means that Jared Goff has got someone that he can throw to. That's what it is. And since he has that now, that's going to definitely going to help him out in the long run. So, and I keep saying to people, like, here's the situation. What you can do is you can take that situation and you could go ahead and just go to work. Now, the thing is it'll take a little pressure off of Todd Gurley. So because now Todd Gurley has a little bit free reign to run. Because last year he was a bit of a slump. He had less than 1,000 yards rushing last year, and you're now in a situation where you don't have. You're just gonna have to sit there and just work with what you got. So that's how that goes. So I say to people this: if you're a Rams fan, don't fret. Don't fret. Just relax, just chill. You're gonna be just fine. You're not going to be. There's no need for you to freak out. You just need to know that you're going to be just fine. And so, and then for Bills fans, I would call your GM and I would just be like, yeah, GM, what are you guys doing? Because this is a bit of a problem. We can't be just cutting guys just to cut guys. It just doesn't work that way. Especially since you just lost one of your best, you just lost one of your best defensive backs, not only to a division rival, but you lost them to the New England Patriots. You just lost it to the Patriots. Like, why would you do that? They just won the Super Bowl. Like, that just didn't make logical sense to me. So I think the Bills, somebody need to fire that GM probably tomorrow, because I don't think he needs to have a job anymore. Maybe he knows something that we don't know. But I could tell you right now, I don't think it was a smart move. I think that that Sammy being gone, it's gonna hurt them. I mean, it wasn't gonna really much help them either. But you got to give the kid a chance to at least have an opportunity to have a good season. But you didn't even give him that opportunity. You just cut him prematurely. And you said, bump it. Well, maybe I could pick up a few guys in the trade. Well, newsflash, that wasn't exactly the best choice. But hey, who am I? But, folks, it is what it is, and there's nothing anybody can do about it. But don't go anywhere. We're going to take a quick commercial break. Don't go anywhere on the No BS Show. How you doing today, Brandon?
If you like to roller skate, you will love Lanham Skate Center. We offer all kinds of specials, birthday parties, skate classes, and more. You can even reserve the rink for a special event. Skate rentals only $3, so roll on over to Lanham Skate Center today. Located at 9901 Lanham Severn Road in Lanham, Maryland. For more information about our weekly schedule, visit us on the web at lanhamskatecenter.com or call for more information at 301-577-1733. That's 301-577-1733.
And we're back. So now we gotta have a conversation, folks, about this youth basketball league that is right here in the DMV, also known as the Premier Youth Basketball League. Shout out to my man James Parker, who's the CEO of that league, along with his lovely wife. Shout out to both of you guys. You guys have been great. It's great every time I go to one of y'all events. So y'all have been great. But I'm gonna jump right into these kids, man. These kids are beyond phenomenal. When I mean phenomenal, I've never seen kids who not only know how to talk, but they know how to play the game of basketball, and they're doing it at a very young age. Do they do some things that are very, very young that is going to be coachable? Oh, yes, no doubt. But I love some of the intangibles that I see from these kids. But right now, we're in the playoff phase right now, and these are just some of the divisions right now. Now, right here on the screen, you've got the Baltimore boys. They were the number one seed. The DC boys. These are all the rising stars. Then you got the Montgomery boys, the Fairfax, the Charles County boys, Prince William County, and Prince George's County boys. These are all the rising stars, and these were the teams that were in the PYBL playoffs. Now you look at this bracket right here. You know, it was 1 through 8, just like a regular NBA bracket or any college basketball bracket. Then it got down to just these two. These four right here between Baltimore, Fairfax, Arlington, and DC. Now, unfortunately, Baltimore, I saw that game. That look, Baltimore went to work, especially since Baltimore, the Baltimore team, they went ahead and beat the brakes on him. And Muggsy Bogues' grandson actually plays for the Baltimore Rising Stars, and there was a really good basketball team this year. And then you got Arlington and then DC. Those boys have been playing very well as well, and they are well coached. And right now, you've got the number 1 seed, Baltimore, going up against Arlington. Now, Arlington, I can tell you right now, these boys have been stellar. They have been stellar, and they played up to their competition. Do I think they're going to beat Baltimore? Probably not, because Baltimore, them kids can ball. And I mean, they've shown that they can play, and these guys are going to be going into elite next year. So be on the lookout for these kids. But now I've got to talk about the elite division. Now these are some kids right here. You got the Southern Maryland boys, who's coached by Coach Dave Baskins. We had him on the show a couple of weeks ago. Shout out to Coach Dave. Now, Coach Dave his Southern Maryland boys, they've been kind of escaping a little bit. Okay? I mean, they have this one kid named Derek Key. Derek Key is about 6'2", plays point guard, and he's a really great kid. He's a pass first point guard. He averages a little over 15 points a game. Well, actually, probably a little more than that, actually. And he just knows how to distribute the basketball, and he gets over about 10 assists a game. So he's an excellent kid. I've been talking to a lot of coaches in there. You had Gonzaga High School in there, DeMatha High School as a Catholic coaches there. Bishop McNamara, so many different coaches from so many different high schools out there, and they were there just watching these kids and seeing who they might want to have come to their team for the next year. But I want you guys to take a look at this bracket. So Southern Maryland, when they played Howard County, I could tell you right now, Howard gave them some problems. When I mean problems, it was bad. Like, Southern Maryland had them up by 10 points, and then Howard came back and as it came back, took the game into overtime, and then Southern Maryland ended up pulling it out in the end. But that one was a tough one. Fairfax, they got a fit from Arlington, and then you saw Prince George's versus Montgomery. Montgomery ended up moving on in that game, although that wasn't. I'm sorry, Prince George's ended up moving on in that game because Montgomery just they made a lot of mistakes in that game. And Anne Arundel, they beat Alexandria, but they only beat them by 1. But they almost came close to losing as well. Now, Southern Maryland, they played Fairfax. Fairfax, I have to say, hats off to you kids. You kids played extremely well. And let me explain why. Fairfax had this one kid, big kid actually, but his name is Ben Woodward. Ben Woodward is a bad kid, man. He was about 6 feet tall. This kid was just busting threes. In the one game against Arlington, he dropped over 28 points in that game, and he had he had 6 threes in that same game. So Ben Woodward is a really good basketball player. Now, there was a couple of intangibles that could be tweaked a little bit, because he didn't really have a post game. He's a bit of a liability on defense, so he's kind of a one-way player, but he can score. And if I had to compare him to a modern day player, I would compare him to somebody like Gordon Hayward. Good one-way player, not really a two-way player. So I think that that Ben Woodward is one of the best in this league right now. And Fairfax has a really good player on their hands. Now for Southern Maryland still pulled out that game. And beat them. And I remember I talked to Coach Baskins after the game. He gave me that look like, Shane, that game was a little bit too close. And it was too close for my liking. So, Coach Baskins, I understand, because that game was a little bit too close for his liking. Now, with Anne Arundel and Prince George's, Anne Arundel was able to pull it out. Shane Lancaster didn't play that game, but Anne Arundel actually went to work. Jarris Walker, I have to rave about this kid. 6'4", dropped 25 points in this game. He was an excellent kid. He played up to his minutes. And he just did extremely. I'm sorry, he had 25 points. He had 15 points, and about 18 rebounds. So the kid can play some flat out basketball. And shout out to his mother, Miss Marsha Walker. She was a great. She's a phenomenal woman, and she explained to me where Jarris gets his height from, because I was kind of wondering, how is he 6'4" at 13 years old? Like, oh my gosh, like this kid is monstrous. And so she told me that his father is 6'6". You know, his mother, you know, she's 5'10". She's a tall woman. So I'm like, this kid is only gonna get bigger, and I'm like, and he's muscular for his age, so he's gonna be a fine basketball player as he continues to grow. And I know a couple of schools that are looking at him right now, and not gonna reveal that yet, but I will be after this weekend. Stay tuned for that. But I can tell you right now, there are there's a lot of things going on. There's a lot of moving pieces. And once the recruiting is over, then I can tell you guys, that I can reveal to you guys where these kids are going to be going. But the good thing is I think Jarris Walker is one of the best on that team. And then I got to talk about Zach Bogert. Now, he's not the greatest shooter in the world, but he's a great rebounder, and he has a great way of getting them putbacks. He's a very good putback player. The young man told me that his idol was Dirk Nowitzki. Now, and he showed me some Dirk Nowitzki-like plays in that game against Prince George's County, because in that game he had a couple mid-range jumpers. He had a 3-point shot in that game, so that's definitely very Dirk Nowitzki-like. The only thing is he just has to work on his post game a little bit, but he'll be fine in the future. But the thing about Zach is 6'6". He's a big kid. He's a tall kid, very lanky, and I'm excited for his career and where he's gonna go. Now, Shane Lancaster wasn't in this game, but he's 6 feet tall. But I'm pretty sure we'll probably see him in the championship game, which will be at DeMatha High School tomorrow, which is this Saturday, August 19th, and the game will be at 4:00. Now, if you want to get tickets is $8, and I believe that it's $5 for children. So just be ready for that. It's going to be a great game. I think it's going to be a good, awesome game. And I'm going to reveal to you the last two teams. It will be Anne Arundel versus Southern Maryland. Now, I will tell you something about Southern Maryland in this game. I'm not liking this, Coach Baskins. I'm telling you, because this isn't good. Southern Maryland, you guys have been kind of escaping. Just saying to you, man. So, Anne Arundel, folks, you're going to have to understand. They've already got 3 big kids. And then they got the unsung hero, Zach Bogert. They got Jarris Walker. And Jarris Walker didn't play against Southern Maryland during the regular season, because during the regular season, Southern Maryland already beat these boys earlier. But in that game, Jarris Walker did not play. And that's going to be the game changer, because of the fact that Jarris Walker was not in the game, and he's going to bring a different dynamic. So Coach Baskins is going to have some bit of scheming to do when he plays against these boys. And if I have to give a prediction right now, I actually have, and Coach Baskins ain't going to like me for saying this, but I'm going to say it. I believe that Anne Arundel will upset Southern Maryland. I believe in those kids, because the heart that they have for this game and the way they play with each other. Because I've seen them at times get frustrated, but then they'll go to each other and be like, look, we may be down, but we're going to get back up and we're going to win this game. And they play with such physicality in a game. Like, these kids are very, very physical, and they fight for the rebound. They fight for the ball. They die for the basketball. And that's one thing that I think these kids are going to need to show to some of these high school coaches who are going to look for these kids to come to their team. Because if you show that you can fight for the basketball, that means that you are willing to sacrifice yourself to play this game. And I think that this is going to be good. And I think that everybody should be excited. And I hope that in the future, I hope for the future for these kids because I love the way they play the game, and I wish them nothing but success in their future. But right now, I'm gonna take a quick commercial break. Don't go anywhere on No BS Show.
It's the new debut CD release from Gregory Hines, Jazz My Way, which is taking the music industry by storm. This versatile artist uses the sensuous sounds of contemporary, modern, and smooth jazz to captivate the listener from the first track to the last. Purchase your copy today in stores, on iTunes, or anywhere downloads are available. If you live in or near the DMV area, come out and meet Gregory Hines in person during his CD signing on Saturday, November 29th from 12:15 p.m. to 3:15 p.m. at John 316 Christian Bookstore, 7953 Annapolis Road, Lanham, Maryland. Christmas is right around the corner. Purchase a copy of Jazz My Way for your family, friends, and coworkers. This is one gift they will definitely keep. For more information, call 240-485-6520 or email jazzmyway1@gmail.com. That's jazzmyway, the number 1@gmail.com. You can always follow him on Twitter at jazzmyway1. That's Gregory Hines, Jazz My Way. When it's time for your car tires to be replaced, come to the Tire Store. They sell new and used tires. The Tire Store also repairs, installs, balances, run flats, and rotates. With 25 years in business, you can count on the Tire Store. Open 9 to 5 Monday through Saturday, located at 9451 Lanham Severn Road in Seabrook, Maryland. Text inquiries to 240-486-3329. That's right, I said text inquiries to 240-486-3329, and we'll see you at the Tire Store.
And we're back. We gotta talk about my man Bryce Harper, man. I mean, Nationals fans, I know y'all not feeling this. Look, I feel for y'all, okay? I understand. I totally get it. You're number 2 in the National League. But don't get crazy yet. It's not that serious. So Bryce has a significant bone bruise. Now, the thing with bone bruises is, you know, typically they take a long time. But from what I have been finding out through the grapevine is he's not going to be able, he's going to be back sooner rather than later. So from what I've been finding out is that he's only going to be gone for maybe 8 weeks. But that still doesn't mean he's not anytime soon. You're going to have to wait until possibly October. And, you know, and that's when during the playoff run. Now the thing is there's no guarantee that he'll be coming back you know, during the playoff run, but or if he'll even be at 100%. Now, the thing is, this is what you're losing. So you're losing a player who's not only a pretty good pitcher, but he's also an excellent hitter. And because of that, you know, now you're in a situation where you're going to depend on the rest of your role players on the Nationals to go ahead and carry the torch without him, because right now let's just be honest about it, the Dodgers are going to they're just going to run the table at this point. I mean, there's really nobody that's going to be able to catch those boys. I mean, the Dodgers have been playing extremely well this year. They have a really good baseball team. They got plenty of hitters and great outfielders. So if I were any Nationals fans, I would say to you this: the situation is this. It's optimistic that he'll be back. Now, on average, it usually takes about 42 weeks. So the fact that he might be back a little sooner than that, I kind of hate to tell people this. Um, we actually are getting a little lucky. Nationals fans, you guys are getting a little bit lucky because of the fact that, he might be back a little sooner rather than later. However, what you're going to have to just think about is, okay, well, what can my team do to continue, not only continue winning, but go on without him? Because, I mean, this happens. This happens in all sports. The Patriots didn't stop winning even though Tom Brady got hurt back in 2008. And the same is it now. That wasn't the same case for the Indianapolis Colts when Peyton Manning got hurt. So, that wasn't the same case. But, baseball's a team sport. It's a team sport. And you're in a situation where you're just going to have to say, look, guys, Harper may be down, but he's not out for the count. Now, another thing is, I know some people might freak out about this. Some people have been seeing that he was on trade waivers. Don't panic. Don't panic. Don't panic. Because if you panic, I'm going to tell you right now, you're just going to give yourself an aneurysm. Don't do that to yourself, okay? He's not going anywhere. They're just trying, the Nationals are going to be doing what they can to protect themselves at this point, but it's just that Harper is just going to be is not going to be on trade waivers for long. Let's just be honest about it. And then the truth is he's just he's a good player, and the team is going to need him, and he's just an exciting guy. So I mean, I think everybody cannot read into it too much, and look at the mere fact of the matter is this: you've got a few games left in the regular season, and the regular season is going to be coming to a close, and then you're going to look at the mere fact that you're like, all right, so we're down probably like 14. We're going to be way behind the Dodgers. The Dodgers is at 80 something games now. Okay, and then the Dodgers is just killing. We got 162 games in the season. The Dodgers sitting at 85-34, and and you've got the Nationals at 72-47. You guys are at least 13 games behind. So you gotta look at it like this: you're not catching the Dodgers. You're just not catching the Dodgers. That's just what it is. At this point, just settle for the number 2 seed, and then just go and then wait until you get there. Because right now the Dodgers are looking like they're chasing history. They're looking like they want to see if they get 116 wins, which I have to say that's a lot of wins to get in one season. So look at it like that. Nationals, you guys are 37-22 away, and you guys are 35-25 at home. Now, right now, you got to look at the mere fact of the matter is this: if you being 37-22 away, that's going to be good for you because of the fact that once you beat everybody at home, and let's say you have to play the Dodgers in the National League Championship game, what you're going to have to do is you're going to have to go all 7 games, or is it 4 of those 7 games are going to be away? So since 4 of those 7 games are going to be away, that's going to be great for you because that means you could beat teams on the road. And now the thing is, the Dodgers, they're a much better home team than they are an away team. So you will have to take that into consideration. So if I was any Nationals fan, don't panic. You're gonna be fine. You're gonna be just great. I think the Nationals has something to work with. And Bryce being one of your best outfielders, I mean, you're gonna be fine. You got Max Scherzer, you got Steven Strasburg, you got some good baseball players on that team. And I think defense might be lacking a little bit, but you'll be just fine. So I wouldn't freak out. So, but here's what's gonna happen next, folks. I'm gonna take a quick commercial break. Don't go anywhere on the No BS Show.
When it's time for your car tires to be replaced, come to the tire store. They sell new and used tires. The tire store also repairs, installs, balances, run flats, and rotates. With 25 years in business, you can count on the tire store. Open 9 to 5 Monday through Saturday, located at 9451 Lanham Severn Road in Seabrook, Maryland. Text inquiries to 240-486-3329. That's right, I said text inquiries to 240-486-3329, and we'll see you at the tire store. Looking to have some fun? Skate Zone of Crofton is here to help. We offer parties for small groups or private banquets for the whole organization. So whether you're celebrating a championship game win, planning an outing for your church youth group, or simply looking for a fun activity for your organization, come on in for roller skating, pizza, arcades, plus more. Looking to raise some money for your organization? Skate Zone also offers fundraisers designed for either small groups or organizations that are 501c3 nonprofits, or private fundraisers for large groups. As an added bonus to raising money, roller skating is social, fun, and most of all, healthy. Call us today at 410-721-7155. That's 410-721-7155 to plan your Skate Zone event. It'll be an experience your organization won't forget. We do all the work, you have all the fun.
And we're back, folks. Gotta get into a little bit of NCAA right now because I know everybody's been itching to talk about college football. College football is about to be back in full effect. We are ready for season to finally start. And what I'm going to talk about here is only the top five. Okay, we're just going to talk about the top five right now because of the fact that so what we're going to do is we're going to look at these guys right here. We're going to look at Alabama, Ohio State, Florida State, USC, and Clemson. And I can tell you right now, folks, Alabama probably going to go back to the national championship. We already know what it is. Like, I don't even know why we even going to talk about it. Now, Alabama is going to have a little bit of an interesting schedule, though, because I think what people don't understand is everybody is like, oh, Alabama is going to run the table, so why are we even talking about it? But what people don't realize is it's not going to be that easy. So the first game is going to be Florida State. That's not going to be no cakewalk. Florida State's going to have Gene Francois coming back as quarterback, and they're going to have some pretty good guys in the secondary coming back this year. And I think that D-line for Florida State is going to be coming to play as well. And for everybody who knows Florida State, they always got speed. Speed kills. So their first game out the gate is going to be against a number 3 seeded team. So nobody can't sit here and say that Alabama's not playing nobody tough this year because, you know, that's going to be one of their more tougher teams. Is it okay? Then they got to see Fresno State and Colorado State. Let's be honest, those are stat games. Those are most likely stat games. They're probably going to run the score up. Let's just be honest about it. I feel bad for those two squads because they're just going to get beat downs. Vanderbilt actually wasn't a bad football team last year. They actually had a pretty good squad. They had a good quarterback last year. And I thought that they started out pretty well. But everybody knows Ole Miss gives Alabama problems. Now, it kind of is one of those situations where with Ole Miss is they lost Chad Kelly. Chad Kelly went in the 7th round this year of the NFL draft. So Chad Kelly is not their quarterback anymore. So now they're going to have to so the coach there, he's going to have to look at, you know, some guys that are going to be either the freshmen or I think either a sophomore quarterback might have to start for him this year, and so he's going to have a bit of a slump there. Texas A&M, Dak ain't there no more. So don't worry about Dak. Dak ain't there because you know Dak used to play for Mississippi State, but he also used to play for TAMU as well. But and Johnny, well, you know Johnny Manziel been gone. So but Texas A&M, I think they're gonna be a pretty good team. Coach Kevin Sumter, he's an excellent coach. Excellent coach. I couldn't say that any more about the man. I think that game might give him. I think Alabama might get a fit in that one. Now Arkansas, nobody cares about them. Let's just be honest about. They're probably gonna finish 6-6. So I'm pretty sure Alabama will beat them. Tennessee, they have a good defense. The only problem is they just lost a bunch of guys on offense because Josh Dobbs, their quarterback, is not there anymore. He's now with Pittsburgh, with the Pittsburgh Steelers. So Josh Dobbs is now gone. He's in the NFL. So for Tennessee, they're gonna have to do a little bit of rebuilding there. LSU just fired Les Miles, and then Leonard Fournette is now gone as well. So since Leonard Fournette went in the first round, the third pick is I believe he was the fourth pick in the draft this year, and he was with the Jacksonville Jaguars. So so for the LSU Tiger fans, we always know that's a rivalry game. We already know that's a rivalry game, and we already know that you guys are gonna do some things. Don't hesitate to call in, folks. The phone number is 301-429-9247. Don't hesitate to call in. Mississippi State, nobody cares. Mercer, and then Auburn. Everybody knows that's a fit for Alabama because of the fact that that's, again, a rivalry game. So I think that Alabama's got their work cut out for them. But I got to talk about Ohio State. I think that the Ohio State University is going to be a force to be reckoned with this year. Because they have a lot of returning starters. And because they have a lot of returning starters. And speaking of callers, I got a caller right now. Caller, you're live.
I want to know, how did Clemson go all the way to number 5? Because they were the defending champions, and now they're ranked number 5 in the whole NCAA football.
Okay, so to answer your question, isn't Miss Owens? Here's the thing: Clemson lost some guys last year. They lost 2 of their best offensive players. They lost Mike Williams, who was the wide receiver for them. He ended up going to the San Diego Chargers, who's actually battling injuries right now in training camp. And then they also lost Deshaun Watson, who was also the number 1 draft pick, for the Texans last year. He went in the first round to the Houston Texans. And it's a situation for Coach Swinney that he was put in where not only he lost a lot of defensive players because Shaq Mason went the year before that, and Mackenzie Alexander, he's no longer there as well. So they lost pretty significant guys. However, the reason why they're at number 5 is because the talent of the teams above them, even though Clemson has some guys returning, they're very young. They're sophomores and they're juniors. So he's got a very young team. And now, granted, they're very experienced, but they're still very young and raw. And so coach is going to have to figure out a situation where he gets these guys in game situations to see what it's like. Because the truth is the ACC is not really a tough division. The only team he's really going to face is honestly the number 3 team that's up on the board there, which is Florida State. He'll probably have a little bit of a fit, and I say maybe a Louisville. Because of Lamar Jackson, the quarterback of Louisville, will be coming back this year. And so he might get a fit out of Louisville, but for the rest of the ACC, nobody cares about the U anymore. Nobody cares about Miami because Miami hasn't been nice since the Ray Lewis, Ed Reed days. Nobody cares about them anymore. So now, granted, they tried to make a comeback, but nobody really kind of cares. But Clemson, I think that they're going to have their work cut out for them. They can still finish undefeated, but they're going to have to figure out their quarterback situation because Deshaun is gone. You lost a quarterback who was 32-3 during his entire career there. That is one of the best in NCAA history. So the kid was a winner. But now that he's gone, Coach Swinney will have to figure that out, and that's why they're at number 5. I hope that answers your question.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Have a great day.
You too.
So, and then I talk, and since we're talking about, we talked about Ohio State and, Florida State. Ohio State's going to have a good team, but only because Ohio State, they just lost three of their best DBs. They lost Marshawn Lattimore, Garyon Conley, and they lost Malik Hooker. All of the guys went in the first round. They're really good kids. I think they're gonna be great kids in the league, and I think they're gonna ball out for whatever as if for their respective teams. But the thing is about Urban Meyer, it's like he reloads. It's like kind of unreal, kind of the things that he does. Like he just reloads defensive backs and just plugs them right in. And then the good thing is he's got a couple wide receivers coming back. He's got some running backs coming back. I believe JT Barrett will be coming back as well. So this football team, I think, is going to be really, really, really interesting to see, to watch. So, and the thing is they Joey Bosa's brother, Nick Bosa, he plays for them. So defense side of the ball is going to be fine too. So that's why Ohio State, I got them definitely is a possibly running the table. But what I don't see here is Pennsylvania State University. Penn State is going to give them a fit, and then let's just be honest, the Big M, Michigan, my man, Jim Harbaugh is going to give Ohio State a fit. That's going to be a game to see. As always, the old Ohio State-Michigan rivalry has been renewed. And so I'm telling people right now, I think that's going to be a game to see. So between Penn State and Michigan, I think those are the only two teams that are going to give Ohio State a problem. Florida State, they just got to see Clemson and Louisville. That's pretty much it because nobody cares about the rest of the ACC. But this interesting team here is number 4, USC. Now, USC... Folks, I got to talk about USC football because this team is actually going to be really good this year. They got rid of all the stuff that was going on in the past with them not going to bowl games and stuff like that. But this team is going to be ready to rock. They got some nasty wide receivers on the outside. They have a really excellent quarterback. But the quarterback but the guy I got to talk about is Osa Messina, number 58, the linebacker. The linebacker for them, I think he's an excellent kid. I think he could play very, very well. And, I seen him make some hits. I think that, it seems like they have this little trend, with the Hawaiian kids, it just seems like that's just what it is. Because we saw, Ray Maluga, way back in the day, Junior Seau. And then if you want to just go to linebackers, period, we can go back to the great Willie McGinnis. So it seems like USC is just reloading linebackers like every other year. So I think that this team is going to be pretty good. And one of their best players, I think, is definitely Sam Darnold. Sam Darnold, I think, is an excellent quarterback. Is it for them? Plays extremely well. I mean, he went through some things last year because they had to change. Is it because they lost a few games, but it wasn't like it was so many where like they couldn't get to a bowl game. But it is what it is. But USC, I think, is an excellent football team this year. I think that everybody needs to watch out for them because they're in the top 5. But people has been wondering like why are they in the top 5. But I'm like, no, you've got to watch the game and know what I'm talking about. Those boys can ball. Now the only thing is I don't like their division because they got to play UCLA. They got to play everybody in the Pac-12, and then Oregon. I mean they haven't been nice since Chip Kelly left, and then Stanford. Well, Stanford has came along pretty well, but they just lost Christian McCaffrey, so they might be able to free things up for them. So it'll make it a little bit easier for them. And then last year they finished 10-3. They finished 10-3, and it was a really good. It wasn't a bad football team. And one of the things that I said to people is I like receiver Jalen Green. Jalen Green is a good kid. He makes some great off the wall catches sometimes. I just be like, what in the world? Like, what are you doing? So I think we're gonna see some great things out of this football team this year. And I say to people, don't read into the hype too much. You gotta watch in order to see what I'm talking about. But the one thing I gotta talk about is the defensive side of the ball. Adoree Jackson. Adoree Jackson is a junior corner. He also plays wide receiver and punt returner. 5'11", 185 pounds. Okay, he ran in the 40, a 4.48 in the 40-yard dash. So that kid is a straight up animal. Okay, I'm sorry, Adoree Jackson's not with them. I'm sorry. Totally different kid I'm talking about. The kid I'm actually talking about is Emar Marshall, 6'2", 200 pounds. And then I think he's gonna be great for these kids. I mean, this is gonna be an awesome team, and I think that everybody needs to understand that got to be ready for these boys. They're gonna be ready to play, and I'm excited. I'm excited for these guys. But right now, folks, I've got to move on. And I'm going to take a quick commercial break. Don't go anywhere on the No BS Show.
So, you're in the mood for a great tasting breakfast at a great price? I've got just the place for you. J. Ollie's Restaurant, located at 9023 Annapolis Road in Lanham, Maryland. J. Ollie's offers a daily breakfast special for only $4.99. The special comes with 2 fresh farm eggs, hash browns, bacon or sausage, toast, coffee, and you heard it right, it's only $4.99. Mention WBGR and receive a discount. For more information about J. Ollie's Restaurant, please call 301-577-3073. That's 301-577-3073. Looking to have some fun? Skate Zone of Crofton is here to help. We offer parties for small groups or private banquets for the whole organization. So whether you're celebrating a championship game win, planning an outing for your church youth,
and I'm back, folks. Got to talk about the NFL inconsistencies real quick, and I'm just going to jump right into it. Is it in the interest of time? So, look, this is what's been bothering me, okay? I've really been trying to understand this. So, Roger Goodell gave Ezekiel Elliott a 6-game suspension for alleged domestic violence. Now, I'll be the first to tell you I am firmly against domestic violence, but the problem was nobody looked at all the facts of the case, and that's the problem that I have with Roger Goodell. It seems, and this is the problem and this is my problem with the NFL. Period. This is why the NFLPA is going to always keep constantly battling the NFL because it's so inconsistent every time, and it's actually becoming to a point where it's really kind of unfair to the players. You're going to suspend Ezekiel Elliott for 6 games for allegedly assaulting a woman who not only said from Ezekiel Elliott's account that I'm a black athlete, you're a black athlete and I am a white girl. Who are you going to believe? That presents a problem. That should have casted beyond reasonable doubt that this did or did not happen. So, therefore, there should have been no suspension whatsoever. But you're spending them 6 games. Mind you, he wasn't arrested for it. He wasn't charged for it for lack of evidence in the case. And yet, and still, he still gets a 6-game suspension. And I don't blame Ezekiel Elliott for appealing this. This is actually kind of ridiculous that he even has to go through the process. And I get it. You know, he's been a little off in the offseason this year. But at the same time, still not right. And then let's go to Tom Brady. You suspended Tom Brady 4 games for deflating footballs. But here's the problem. He never deflated the football. And not only he didn't deflate the football, he also appealed it multiple times because he's like, I did not do this. And you wanted him to admit to something that he did not do. And then the only reason why he even got the 4-game suspension was not because because he admitted to it, but because the judge only affirmed that the players agreed to the CBA that Roger Goodell could be judge, jury, and executioner of all sentences in any proceeding in the NFL. So that's the only reason why he's suspended. He's not suspended because he actually because it was proven that he deflated footballs. He was only because there was a suspicion of deflated footballs. That was the problem. And I just don't think that that's fair. Then let's talk about Peyton Manning. I like how nobody investigated that, but yet and still he had drugs sent to his house, performance-enhancing drugs. They allowed him to not only heal faster, but to get back into the game. But yet and still, nobody wanted to complete that investigation. But hey, who am I? I mean, I'm just saying. And then let's talk about Colin Kaepernick. Colin Kaepernick takes a knee. He takes a knee. Now he's been blacklisted all over the NFL. And for Roger Goodell, if you allow this discrimination to go on, and this says a lot to me as you as a person. Now, that was cute what you said yesterday. That was very cute. You know, you have to understand both sides. I understand. Now you've actually finally getting it. But now there's still one problem. Kaepernick still doesn't have a job. So you need to fix that. Josh Gordon, he had some weed problems. Okay, he got caught with it 3 times. But so didn't Martavis Bryant. But you reinstated Martavis Bryant before you reinstated Josh Gordon. But I'll tell you why. Because Martavis Bryant, you don't want to mess with the Rooney family of Pittsburgh. So let's just be honest about it, Mr. Goodell. And then with Josh Brown, you give him a 1-game suspension when after he admitted to not only beating his wife, but calling her his slave. And then the only thing you're going to say is, we don't have all the facts yet. You had all the facts because he said, I beat my wife. That's what Mr. Brown said. So the inconsistency in the rulings of the NFL, it just seems like there's always a different narrative when it comes to African American players versus white American players, and there's always a problem. And then of course there's players that you just don't like that go against your disastment. You basically said, Mr. Goodell, if you go against me, that I will suspend you. If you go against what I say and what I do and what I stand for, then I'm going to suspend you. And that's not fair. I think that Roger Goodell has to be more consistent on these issues if you're going to be the commissioner of the NFL for the near future. But I could say it like this. When that CBA comes up in about 2020, which unfortunately for the players, that's 3 more years. When that CBA comes up, Mr. Goodell, you might want to think about where you're going to be working next, because that nice little $44 million salary ain't going to be no more after this. So I'm just saying, you might want to think about that. But the inconsistency for the NFL rulings has been utterly ridiculous. It's been it's an outrage, and I firmly believe that whoever pretty much makes the most money, he's really not going to really mess with that individual. Now, for Ezekiel Elliott, you want to say that he's young? Cool, yeah, he's young. We all make mistakes when we're young. But to give him a 6-game suspension for something he wasn't even charged for, and then with all the reasonable doubt that's in the case, I think there's a problem right there. And I think that Roger Goodell, you're extremely biased, and you need to fix that and fix it quickly. But in the interest of time, folks, I'm going to have to move on. I know we want to debate this a little further, but I'm going to take a quick commercial break, and then we're going to talk about our final topic, which is my main man, Beast Mode. Don't go anywhere in the No BS Show.
Is here to help. We offer parties for small groups or private banquets for the whole organization. So whether you're celebrating a championship game win, planning an outing for your church youth group, or simply looking for a fun activity for your organization, come on in for roller skating, pizza, arcades, plus more. Looking to raise some money for your organization? Skate Zone also offers fundraisers designed for either small groups or organizations that are 501c3 nonprofit. or private fundraisers for large groups. As an added bonus to raising money, roller skating is social, fun, and most of all, healthy. Call us today at 410-721-7155. That's 410-721-7155 to plan your Skate Zone event. It'll be an experience your organization won't forget. We do all the work, you have all the fun.
And we're back, folks. Final topic of the day. Beast Mode has been taking a seat, man. And I have to say, Beast, Marshawn Lynch, I applaud you, my brother. Because of the fact that you listened to Kaepernick, you saw what he was standing for. And you see the injustice going on, not just in the NFL, but throughout all sports. Because it wasn't just that long ago that LeBron James got his house vandalized and had racial slurs written all over his home, and it kind of was not, and it's just not right. And now you're also in a situation where, in addition to that, you know, Kaepernick hasn't gotten a job yet. The Seahawks entertained it. It just didn't happen. They started getting a hate mail. Then other teams started joining in. The Jets was looking at him, and then they started getting a hate mail. Then the Baltimore Ravens actually brought him in, which I don't understand why they would do that to themselves and do that to Kaepernick. Then they wanted to see where his head was at, and then ultimately, you didn't even bother in bringing the man on the team. The guy threw 16 touchdowns and 4 interceptions last year. He had the best touchdown to pick ratio. Why wouldn't you pick him up? Dolphins, I think y'all are the most disrespectful team in the league right now, and that's why you're going to continue getting your butt whooped by New England, because you're going to really bring in Jay Cutler. Jay Cutler hasn't been nice since Denver. That's how long Jay Cutler hasn't been nice. That was the last time I even remember him throwing a 4,000-yard season. But he's 68-71 as a quarterback and only been to one NFC Championship game. Whereas Kaepernick, 3 NFC Championship games and 1 Super Bowl. 1 Super Bowl. And the only reason why we even having this conversation is because he started taking a knee. He didn't burn down a flag. He didn't sexually assault anyone, unlike Mr. Ben Roethlisberger, Pittsburgh. Unlike that situation, he didn't throw his girlfriend on a couch full of guns, Greg Hardy. And then, I mean, at least and on top of that, he didn't beat up no woman in no elevator, Ray Rice. So here's the situation. Beast Mode I want you to understand. Keep taking several seats because you're doing what you believe in, and you know what's not right. And I'm gonna say it like this: am I opposed to peaceful protest? Absolutely not. Your American right. That is a right afforded to you as an American citizen. Kaepernick no way form would ever disrespect the veterans whatsoever. But what he is against the justice that's going on throughout America. And then in light of what just went on in Charlottesville this past weekend, I think that people really need to start taking these players seriously. And Michael Bennett, I applaud you as well, because you came out and said it yourself. You said that white players need to come out and show support, and that call was answered. That call was answered by Chris Long of the Philadelphia Eagles. Although he was already answering that call long beforehand, but he answered that call. Now, unfortunately, he might be the only one. But folks, I am so sorry. I am out of time. So here's what's going to happen. I'm going to tell you guys to join our Facebook group of fans. I want you to go to the No BS, Nothing But Sports Talk Show fan group. I want you to join. Please join me. Join as soon as possible. Follow us on Blogger. at no BS nothing but sportstalk.blogspot.com. Now you can find Brandon Myers at Facebook is on his Facebook page, and then the boy 2315 on Twitter, Bam _ 2315 on Instagram, Courtney Shaban at Twitter and Instagram, and then Courtney Tate on Facebook. You find Mike Curry, that is it on Facebook as well. Be like Mike with the X in the middle of the mic on Twitter, and then be _ like Mike on Instagram, and then SoundCloud.com and Curry in the Pot. And then, of course, you can find me, your boy, Shane Hector, on Facebook. And then you can find me on Twitter as insane _ Shane29 underground SB29. And then find me Shiz _ 29 on Instagram. And then on Blogspot, you can find me on Underground Sports LLC. .blogspot.com. And I want to thank all of you guys for tuning in today. Thank you so much. And I'll be back next week. Hopefully my team will be with me, y'all. Peace.